if I had a gun to my head.
This fellow, Jermaine Franklin, of course, we don't know an awful lot about him in terms of his record. He looks very good, 14 inside the distance as well. He's unbeaten, but how dangerous is he?
He is an unknown quantity. He has a scary-looking record, but if you look a little deeper, the opposition on there, haven't really done anything. But that doesn't automatically mean he isn't good. Now, if you look at some of Floyd Mayweather and Roy Jones Jr.'s early fights, or Mike Tyson's early fights, they're nobody of any cop. But at a heavyweight who's knocked out 14 of his 21 opponents, needs to be respected. Dillian Whyte's lost by knockout 2 of his last 3 fights. He's not going to want to be put in a situation where he's on the canvas in this fight. He's got it all to fight for. His last performance against Tyson Fury at Wembley in front of 90,000, it didn't send shockwaves around the world. No, that wasn't his best performance. Nobody can quite work out what the game plan was. So he's going to need it. The fact that he's got Buddy McGuirk in the house. One thing you can guarantee, Buddy McGuirk, I'm sure, wouldn't be advising him to turn southpaw for no reason. He's definitely at a stage in his career where he's not far off a fight against Anthony Joshua. So the winner of this fight, I believe, get an opportunity to fight Anthony Joshua in a mega fight. So there's lots to fight for, a hell of a lot to fight for in this fight. But Dillian Whyte needs to right a lot of the wrongs in that last performance. It wasn't like he went out on his shield in a great epic battle. It was kind of a non-event. It was kind of a bit of jostling for position, and then one uppercut, and it was all over. So it's like he wouldn't have been banged up from that performance. He wouldn't have been jaded or battered, or even needed any operations after that. He just got hit with one uppercut, chinned, and that's it. Here we go again. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this Franklin can bring to the table.
It's a funny one for Dillian, I suppose, isn't it? Because he's expected to do the business and do it well. Again, he's got that carrot at the end of it in terms of the Joshua fight. That is a money spinner, obviously. So it's kind of he just can't afford to put a foot wrong. I mean, the thing is as well, when you look at that as well, Joshua's been beaten twice on the bounce, but he's still the money fight, it would seem. It's a funny situation that we're in with the heavyweights at the minute, isn't it?
He has to win this next fight to put himself in the position for the big, massive fights. Anthony Joshua is the money man of the division. Even though he's lost 2 in a row, when he fights, it generates more than anybody else, and everybody knows it. So a fight with, I'm sure Dillian fighting AJ in a non-title fight will probably generate him more money than he got for fighting Tyson Fury. It's that type of circus when AJ fights. The sponsorship, the pay-per-view numbers get through the roof. So Dillian knows this is, this fight. It's all on this, and if he can get through this one fight, he sets himself for a multi-million-pound fight against an opponent who he was doing really well against when they fought each other. It was like 7 years ago for the British title. So it's an intriguing matchup, that one. But it's hard to judge how and who will be the victor before we've seen if Dillian is a spent force or not. Looking by that last performance, if you'd have said before the fight, okay, yeah, he's washed up, he's finished. He hasn't got nothing left, and he performed like he did, you'd go, that makes sense. But maybe he just got it tactically completely wrong. And maybe he's recharged, he's got a new coach, he's freshening things up, and he's going to really want to put on a mean display.
So should he get through? I mean, the thing is, does he deserve this shot? Does he deserve an Anthony Joshua win? Boy, the things that you just said.
Does Derek Chisora deserve a shot against Tyson Fury? Boxers don't get what they deserve. They get what they negotiate. And that's it. Put yourself in a position to negotiate. Yeah. He's in a great position at the moment. He's a guy who pushed Anthony Joshua. He's got history of him for years and years of history. He's from London. They're both based in London. They're both, there's a history there. There's a rivalry. They both won one fight apiece. Dillian Whyte beat him in the amateurs.
Yeah.
Andy Joshua beat him as a pro. Now it's a rubber match. That is the biggest fight right now for Dillian Whyte. Whether someone believes he deserves it is irrelevant. When does a boxer ever get what they deserve? Ever. It's ridiculous, but he's in a good position, even coming off of 2 defeats in 3 fights, because he brings all action.
The Wardley Gorman fight, again, who'd you pick on that one?
Gorman's had a big fight against Dubois. He didn't really have any success in that fight. But outside of that, they seem to have fought similar level of opposition. Gorman seems like he's been around quite a bit. When he was working with Hatton for a while, I always thought, he needs to get him, take the game seriously, really get yourself into the best possible shape, and depending on how he looks fight night, I don't know, I haven't seen him in training, but if he comes in at a similar weight that he used to come in, then I don't believe he's taking it as serious as he could do. Whereas when I've seen Wardley, he looks lean and mean. He looks like there's no junk on him. He looks like he's been, so if all's equal, I'll go for the fitter looking guy, because neither of them have, outside of the Dubois loss, the wins have all kind of been around the same level. There's no real big names that jump out. So I'd say, it's just, the records goes 19-1 and that 14. Them as much of a much as the opponents. So I think it's down to, I'd call it a pretty even fight. Wardley hasn't lost yet. Gorman's lost by stoppage pretty comfortably. So I'd probably swing towards Wardley if I had a gun to my head. But a lot of that would be the unknown. A lot of that would be the unknown. But I've heard good things about him. I've heard that he is, very, very heavy-handed, and he's got that X factor. So I'll go with that.